certain instructions in this final chapter. One of the greatest cause of tension and failure is when we do not yield to instructions. He began by instructing children to be obedient to their parents, how to honor them and not to give them grief. He is instructing the parents how not to provoke their children, but how to bring them up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. He is instructing servants how they should serve their masters. He is instructing masters how to treat their servants. All these first line of instruction is good, but now we want to look at Paul's more stern instructions. We have to understand what the world problem is. We're trying to figure it out, and many people are trying to figure out what is the problem that are going on in the world today. Well, can I tell somebody the trouble that we're facing today, the problem that are going on in the world today is not an economic problem. It's a spiritual problem. The thing that we are facing today is nothing to do with economics. It's all to do with spiritual. It's all to do with the fight that we are fighting. You have to understand what our struggle is about. Not about the fact that we have not planned our life better. It's a spiritual attack. Because sometimes we do everything that we know how to do, and we do everything right, but still something goes wrong. It's a spiritual attack on our lives. You have to understand when things start to go crazy in your life. Your problem is not about physical, but when things start to go haywire in your life, it's about spiritual. So now Paul says in the 10th verse, he says, finally, my brethren. The word finally would suggest that Paul has reached his conclusion. The word finally is related as the last series of an event. It is used to introduce the final point. While Paul is using the word finally in this chapter, it does not only relate to this final chapter, but his conclusion arises from his entire letter of instruction to the Christians that made up the church at Ephesus. Paul says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. I can take my watch off so I don't lose track of time. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. This charge is not to the world, but this charge is to the Christian believers. It is a charge to the Christian soldier as he faced his battle. This is a charge to those that are saved, that those as they fight, as you embrace, as you fight your conflict, as you fight your enemy or face your enemy, Paul is saying you must be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Be strong in the Lord. What you are about to face, the battle you are about to fight, your strength your strength. There are some things that you will encounter that you cannot deal with them by your own strength. Because your strength that you use of the natural is based on the arm of flesh. And we know that the arm of flesh will fail us. Our strength will fail us. But we can trust in the strength of God. We get weak sometimes. And the older you get, when I was 14, I gotta do some crazy stuff because I had crazy strength. I had all kinds of strength, but now that I'm 60 plus, some of my strength is no longer there that used to be there. I can't do what a 14-year-old could do now. And so it is that our strength, as time goes, will be depleted. But I'm so glad that when we are strong in the Lord and we trust in the strength of God, the strength of God never fails. The psalmist declared, the Lord is my strength, my shield. He declared God is refuge and strength. Philippians says, I can do all things through Christ, which gives me the strength. Paul said, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. We must pay attention to two words that Paul is using. One, he said that we ought to be strong. Then number two, he tells us how we ought to be strong. We ought to be strong in the Lord's mighty power. So these are used to stress the utter necessary of the believer being strong and possessing power. The word strong means power. It means might. It means strength. If in this season, if you are going to become victorious or victorious Christian, you must now be strong in the Lord. You're going to be more than a conqueror. You got to be strong in the Lord. You must possess power and might, strength, as you face your everyday challenges. The Lord's power refers to his sovereign, unlimited power and dominion over all. There is no power like the power of God. Can I say it again? There is no power like the power of God. It never fails. It cannot fail. It never be depleted. It cannot be depleted. No power like the power of God. Moses stood at the Red Sea and held up his staff. It was the power of God that rolled back the Red Sea. In Acts chapter 16, it was the power of God that freed Paul and Silas. When the power of God began to shake the prison, it was the power of God that brought life to the dead wombs of Sarah, who was old and barren and could not have any children because of her age. But the power of God quickened her wombs, and Sarah gave birth. To the neighbor, say, neighbor, the power of God is awesome. It's the power of God. When Jesus came forth, I come by to tell you there's no power, the power of God. Paul says, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Hear me, we can rely on the power of God. Because the power of God can destroy, eliminate every opposition that stands against us. The power of God can free you from the prison of your mind. I come by to tell somebody that your deliverance is in the power of God. Your breakthrough is in the power of God. Your healing and deliverance is in the power of God. I come by to tell somebody your victory. I shall fight the fight. I shall dress for the fight. The victory is in the power of God. That's why Paul said, be strong, be strong, be strong, be strong in the Lord. Ooh, somebody shout power. Lord have mercy. We got to be strong. Strong in the Lord. And in the power's might, because I told you what the battle entails. If you go down, Paul brings us down further. He said, after he told you to be strong in the Lord, in the powers of his might, he begins to tell you what you will be fighting. He begins to show you what you'll be warfaring against. Nothing that is natural, but everything that is supernatural. Because he said, the wrestling, not against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. Oh, that's why we need to be strong. Strong in the Lord. I'm going to stop right now. But we got to be strong. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Somebody shout power. Power. Somebody shout power. Power. The season you got to have power. But you don't need any kind of power. In this season, you need the power of God. And the unlimited power of God. In this season, you need to be equipped with the power of God. Paul wanted you to know that the kind of battle you will be headed into, the kind of enemy you will be fighting, it will require more than just human strength. It will require a strength far greater than human capability. And a matter of fact, if Superman was here, it will require strength greater than Superman's strength. And so Paul said that we have to be strong in the Lord. Our human strength is no match for this enemy. Our human strength is only effective if we can see and hold our opponents or our enemy. But the enemy in which we are engaging is an unseen force, an unseen enemy. But I'm so glad at the power of God. You can win with the power of God. We are, however, no match for the devil, and the devil is no match for God. Can I say that again? We are no match for the devil, but the devil is no match for God. That's why we can win with God's strength. That's why we can fight our warfare in the strength of the Lord. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Tell your neighbor, say, oh neighbor, you need to fight with the power of God. Tell them you need to fight with with the power of God. When you fight with the power of God, you can overcome principality and power. You can overcome the rulers of darkness of this world. When you fight with the power of God, somebody tell me I can tread upon serpents and scorpions and over the power of the enemy. What is this against my life when we fight? We've got to fight with the power of God. Finally, my brethren, be strong. The power of God gives you authority to bind and give you authority to cast out every spiritual infirmity by the power of God. We can bind sickness, we can bind poverty, we can bind every generational curse, but the power of God, we can pull down strongholds that are affecting our lives. We can break and rebuke any programs that the enemy assigned to operate against us by the power of God. Somebody shout power. Well, as I finish, take my seat. I'll come by and tell somebody that you better be strong in this season of the power of the might of God, because God is able to take care of business. You cannot take care of business, but the God I serve, I don't know about you, but the God I serve is able to take care of business. He's able to defeat the enemy, and we are able to defeat him like God defeated him, because I heard Jesus says, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Paul said, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. In this season of trouble, in this season of evil, where evil gets worse and worse, in this season when all hell is breaking loose in your life, you need to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. I come by and tell somebody, if you don't stand strong in the might of God, the enemy will kill you, the enemy will knock you out, the enemy will destroy you, and so you got to be strong. Strong. You got to be strong in the might of God's power. God says, if you're strong in the power of God, when the enemy comes against you like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up the standard against him. God says he will deliver you from the snares of the fowler and the noisome pestilence. God says, thousands will fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near you, because of the power of God. Finally, might. That's the only way we're going to make it. If we are strong, if we are strong in the Lord, tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, you got to be strong in the Lord. Come on, witness to your neighbor. I tell your neighbor, you got to be strong in the Lord. While it's on your jobs, you got to be strong in the Lord. When you face them demons, you better be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. God is able to keep you and to give you victory in the fight. Because even though you are clothed with the armor, you still have to be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Come on, stand with me all over the building. I need some folks to give God praise for being strong in the Lord. Come on, somebody give him praise. Being strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Paul tells us that we are to be strong even before we dress in the armor. You have to be strong. Strong in the Lord. Sometimes we put our strength in the wrong place. Or we put our strength in the wrong people. Sometimes we rely on our own human strength. And we know it can't work. But when we put our strength in our God, he don't get tired. Because there is no power like him. Jehoshaphat said of God, we have no might. When he see all them people, he said, we have no might against these people. They're too much. But God said, don't worry about them. Because you ain't got to use your strength to fight. I got to use my strength. And when I get finished with them, it won't be no enemy. And if you read that sure enough, God destroyed them. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Bow your heads with me.